Welcome to the conversation. I'm Shivraj, and we're talking about mithais and the election. So, with election campaigning really picking up, how are the mithai walas coping with the laddoos literally flying off the shelves? Let's take a look at a report on how mithais may just be an inducement for voters on the ground.
You may have seen mouth-watering mithais on display at various sweet shops in New Delhi. But it is this mithaiwala in the old quarters of the city's Chandni Chowk who is way ahead in the race when it comes to motichur laddoos. These laddoos may be a dietitian's nightmare, but are a favorite of most political parties and their candidates during the elections. Here, these workers have had to clock in extra hours this month and will have to keep at it till the elections draw to a close and the new government is formed.
जो टिकट पा रहे हैं वो भी ले जा रहे हैं, जो जीत होगी तो भी होगी खूब कुछ भी। जहाँ तक मेरा ख्याल है कि लड्डू आज नहीं, पता नहीं, बहुत पुराने समय से परंपरा चली आ रही लड्डू के बारे में।
The sweet manufacturing industry in India is worth over $500 million. On an average, 100 to 150 kilograms of laddoos are prepared here every day. But with elections round the corner, the number has gone up to a whopping 500 kilograms. Just like how this worker is carefully measuring out the quantity of color used in his laddoos, the Election Commission too has put checks in place. The poll watchdog has put a cap on a candidate's election expenditure of up to $115,000. So the candidates better rein in expenses. Well, moving on, winning or losing is part and parcel of electoral politics. Politicians may come and go, but mithai remains an inseparable part of elections. While it may be a gastronomic delight for our 1.2 billion strong population, only time will tell if these sweet meats get converted into votes.
So it's pretty clear that mithais are an intrinsic part of sweetening the election, and for candidates, it is clearly a tool to hand out to voters and try and induce them to their corner. So joining us on the conversation are two very senior journalists, Ashok Wankade and Sanjeev Ratna Singh. Ashok, of course, the fact that the elections are falling in a very crucial time, there are festivals, schools giving out, there are exams. How important is that, and how much of a potential is there then for campaigners to really roll out different inducements?
Shivraj, rightly you said the mithais are a sweetening agent, but there are two perspectives to it. If you have to see, it may be a sweetening agent for the voters. If somebody is being given a mithai, it's good for him. But ask a man who is giving a mithai. For example, this particular election season, if a politician has to make a headway into a particular area, he has to see the gang lord, he has to see the local leader there. And when you open a dialogue, in Indian culture we open a dialogue with the sweet things. So a packet of mithai that matters, that opens a gate to enter a house or enter a conversation where many more deals can follow. So here, whenever you give somebody a mithai, the man who is receiving it may be too happy, but man at the same time who is giving you, he has got lot many questions, lot many other things which is following it. So whether it is a sweetening agent for a giver or the man who gives you, I don't know. Another thing is that the Election Commission is watching very strictly even a small expenditure. So the mithai expenditure is going to
scrutinize
regularly,
okay.
And the candidates will have to at least make some other arrangements where they can give the mithais, they can make a headway. At the same time, the mithai expenditure is not added to them.
And it is a hidden cost. So Sanjeev, you've covered the nitty-gritty of elections. I mean, images of you in dirty, dusty campaigns. Have you ever been given mithais and then therefore further inducement by candidates on the ground?
Of course, I think all of us, I mean, even you and I, we've all got mithais from people. I think that's something which is very tough to say no to, because, there's no currency or any such other thing involved, and that's more like, trying to break the ice between the politician and whoever is trying to do that. But it is a part and parcel of Indian elections. Wherever you go, you will see these things, and especially if you move to the heartland, these sort of things are common. I mean, it's almost impossible for a politician to think of running an election campaign without starting with without sweets being the first part of his campaign.
But as a journalist covering the campaign trail, have you sometimes felt a little uncomfortable that perhaps the mithai is not where it stops?
Well, yeah, of course. I think you have to draw a line at certain places
Say,
because
particularly the active journalist who is active throughout the year. So mithai keeps on flowing throughout the year. So it becomes sometimes more taxing how to dispose it off.
not just
Rather,
mithais, you'll
yes,
get
yes.
dinner sets.
Dinners
And
means mithai is opening. That's what I said. Once you open with it, that he is not, he's accepted a 1 kg of laddus. That means he open to it. So then mobile follows, laptop follows, holiday package follows. So it's opening.
So how do you handle that when you're trying to strike that balance between reporting and becoming the story?
You have to see who is actually giving you a mithai. For example, if you are traveling for an election tour and you have started from some place coming back to Delhi, you are taking a train and somebody gives you a dinner. With that he says कि हमारे यहाँ का मिठाई बहुत अच्छा है. You take this package. So you should know the psyche of that man. If he really loves you and he is being with you for 3 days touring the area, just out of love he is giving you. But sometime he says कि साहब जरा देख लेना हमारे साहब का कैंपेन थोड़ा सा आप लिख दोगे तो अच्छा होगा और ये बच्चों के लिए रखा है. So that is the way area where you have to make sure that it is not out of love. It is pure bribe to a journalist.
So now apparently the mithai is becoming clearly a game changer in this election. We've just heard
It's
that
not-
the
it's
election
not
commission.
Today, it's not today.
Right.
It is being for ages.
Sure.
So it's our culture. If you go to a temple, offer a mithai to a god,
Absolutely.
in return of what? You pray him. कि please, you make sure that I get a job.
So
I
in
will
fact
offer you 100 kg, 1 kg of laddus or 100 laddus or 1000 laddus. You are bribing God. It is in our culture. So it's no wonder if politicians are bribing the voters with the laddus and the mithais.
But we've just heard that in fact the election commission is turning that on its head. In Chandigarh, apparently the election commission in Chandigarh has roped in 2 major mithai walas to try and offer mithai packages as inducement for voters to come out and vote on election day. Do you think that's a positive trend? Do you think that perhaps will sort of change the tonality of how mithai is changing the color?
It's not that. Some places I read in a newspaper that the restaurants have offered a 50% discount. If you come on a voting day, if you vote and come for a lunch or a dinner, you will be given concession. Even in Madhya Pradesh, it's one of the prominent cities, doctors have come together and they have offered on a voting day, if you want to consult us, please come with the proof that you have voted. Means of course the ink on the
But this is the
finger,
election
and they
commission.
will be given
Right.
50% discount in a doctor's fee.
So, Sanjeev, this is the election commission that's actually using the boxes and they're going to be putting stickers there. So, it's going to have the official stamp of the election commission asking voters who are going to receive the mithai or buy the mithai to go out and vote. Has that ever happened in your time of covering the election? Have you
No.
seen the authorities actually leverage mithai to this extent?
that's what makes this election different because I think it's the first time that election commission has actually woken up to the power of mithai, and realized that hey, this is one area that we always thought it'll come under some sort of a social blanket and people used to get through it, but now especially with election commission keeping a watch on mithai is going to be a part of your expense, and as you said that in Chandigarh we're going to see posters of election commission asking people to vote on mithai boxes. So I think somewhere down the line election commission has finally realized that this is one area that we've forgotten to tap, so they're using it for both purposes. One, to keep a check on the candidates, and secondly, to promote voting.
So just a reminder to those watching this conversation, do join us and ask questions of us. Our Twitter handle is #IndiaPostLive, and of course you can also log in to indiapost.com and send us your comments so that we can throw them to our guests and even Skype in and have that conversation with us. So again, Ashok, you were talking about when we were having discussion before we went live about how crucial mithai and the election is because there's the whole festival season that's creeping in. But there are nuances as well involved, and there's a very fine line between leveraging the mood on the street and going a little step further.
If you go at a micro level and study, Shivraj, then it's basically an election season. Election when it is being announced, you have to see the season. If it's festival season, like if it's Ganpati season in Maharashtra, so it's not only mithai that matters. All the politicians, those who are contesting, has to finance the various pandals or various Ganesh mandals. So they will not ask you to finance. They will ask you to, sir, please come and do aarti. Now, if you are a guest at the aarti, they will have to you will have to make sure that you put some few thousand rupees in that donation box and make sure that the entire pandal is with you. The same thing happens during Navratra period. So there are lot many.
And the Navratras have just begun.
Period. Now, if the elections are during holidays,
right?
So there are small gully clubs coming up. Every club will ask for the sports kit. So you have to make sure that if they are a cricket buff, that you have to give them a cricket something. Some big areas they ask for a gym, so you have to give them the gym equipment. Interestingly, when I spoke to Nitin Gadkari, when I went to Nagpur, and all of a sudden I saw the huge banners and posters of bhajan competition. So I just asked what this bhajan competition is. So what I was told is what something new concept. The BJP, Gadkari, he said, I am not for liquor distribution and money distribution. So he told all mohallas, if you want, I can give you harmonium, tabla, and that mridang, this musical instrument for your bhajan mandali. So every mohalla, they formed a bhajan mandali. Now there are more than 2,000 bhajan mandalis in Nagpur. They had a competition. Now this is one way of tapping the voters through bhajan mandali.
But will that come under election commission, or
would that be scrutinized? Because
that
would be sops given out in the guise of sweetening the vote.
That was what he exactly did, was much before the announcement of the elections. So that was the area. Now I don't think that the election commission will cover that also. But this is one way to tap the voters. I don't say bribe the voters, but tap the voters.
Sure.
We call him bribe. All the leaders, they will say, no, we are tapping the voters, approaching the voters. There are two different ways of looking at it. But so many things. In South you go, they announce mixies, laptops, TVs. Now mixies and TV is not what will work in North India. But laptop has worked. Cycle has worked.
Yeah.
So now recently there is a case in Konkan where near about more than 2 dozens of boleros were distributed by one Congress leader. Now the innovative way of delivering the bolero was that he gave those boleros to a local leaders at the rate of 60,000 per bolero.
Wow.
And he said, no, it is a second hand. Now how it becomes a second hand? You buy it from a showroom, keep it for a week. After a week, it is being transferred to his name, it becomes a second hand. Now the election commission has ordered an inquiry into that. And he is none other than our famous Rane.
Oh.
And so, Sanjeev, also the Laddoo in itself, when it's distributed at the level of being given a ticket to the candidate, distributed on the campaign trail. But I hear that there are different kinds of Laddoos that now exist on the ground as well.
Yeah, in fact, people place orders and get specialized Laddoos made for various localities. I mean, if I tell you about Kanpur, there is a Laddoo wala, and he makes a Laddoo in which I am sure he put something in it, because, sir, if you eat that Laddoo, there is no way you can eat any other Laddoo except for that Laddoo. So, at least for the voters of Kanpur and that area,
I think that those Laddoos were even taken during this Amitabh Bachchan's son's wedding.
yeah,
Same Kanpur Laddoo wala went there those days.
Yeah, but that also went. But for that area, for south of Kanpur, if you do not distribute that particular Laddoo, no one is going to look at you.
So for that, every city has got its own. Like if you go to Pune, you have to Chitrais mithai. Now if you give a Chitrais mithai, it will have a standard mithai. So that is a standard sweet. If you buy it from some other place, it becomes. Now particularly in Delhi, if you go, we have got very old mithai shops in Chandni Chowk. Otherwise, these Bikaner wala and other things, these are the brands which is being regularly accepted. Now, Desi Ghee ka Laddu, Bina Desi Ghee ka Laddu. Now, you said people distribute Laddus when you get a ticket. Now, distributing Laddus, if you go into details, sometimes you get a ticket, you distribute Laddu. Sometimes you don't get a ticket, you distribute Laddus. Sometimes some other man gets a ticket and your enemy doesn't get a ticket, you distribute Laddus. So, here you need to have a reason to distribute Laddus.
Absolutely. So
whoever wins, whoever loses, Laddus are going to be there.
Going to be there.
And the voters are going to enjoy Laddus.
So who's the winner in all this also? You know, our cameras went out and spoke to a few people to ask them what they thought of mithai distribution and how it impacts what they think of the entire exercise.
बाबा जी का ठुल्लू मिला भाई।
क्या मिला?
सच्ची बात है।
क्या मिला?
बाबा जी का ठुल्लू।
Whatever I've heard, they say that they're distributing sweets, which I think is not ethical.
आपको लगता है मंत्री जी मिठाई देते हैं इलेक्शन में तो अच्छी बात है?
हाँ जी, बहुत अच्छी बात है।
बहुत अच्छी बात है। आपको मिली अभी तक मिठाई?
मिल जाएगी।
किसी नेता ने दी?
गुंजा तो मिलेगी यार।
कहाँ दी? किसी नेता ने?
नहीं वही पता जो हमारा तो एमएलए ना, वो तो हर मिठाई तो वो बांटता है वैसे।
ना इलेक्शन के टाइम पे मिठाई मिली नहीं।
वैसे मंत्री लोग कैसे देते हैं?
ना वैसे दे मंत्री लोग कौन देगा अपनी मिठाई आम लोगों को?
आप लोगों को कोई मिठाई वगैरह कुछ मिला है या ऐसा कुछ?
नहीं हमें तो मिठाइयाँ नहीं मिली अभी तक।
मिठाई तो नहीं मिली सर, बट हाँ ये है कि दारू शराब बियर वगैरह मिली है। चिकन विकन खाने को मिला है बहुत
इलेक्शन के टाइम।
इलेक्शन के टाइम। और कईयों को खाना है, कईयों को खाया है, बीजेपी का भी खाया है, कांग्रेस का भी खाया है, और ये आपका वो हाथी वाला कौन सा था? बीएसपी उसका भी खाया है।
थैंक यू।
बीएसपी वाले ने ज़्यादा खिलाया।
I didn't get anything, but I think it's a good idea. And I've seen the ad campaigns of BJP and Congress, and I think the campaigns of the ads of BJP, they are much better. They are more humorous, and I hope BJP wins.
Would it be a good idea to distribute sweets among voters?
Of course not. And I want the general public to not be influenced by such illiterate measures, and it would be a big disappointment if we do.
मिठाई मिलेगा मंत्री जी से किसी इलेक्शन में?
अभी तो मिला नहीं है, मालूम नहीं कब मिलेगा।
That there were a few sort of sour grapes, people not getting mithais. But, you know, like a lot of people said in their reactions, that it isn't mithai anymore. It's you know, there are many other sweeteners that are coming into play. So, do you think that this election will get a little more?
That's what I started. We started a discussion with that. Mithai is the opening thing.
Sure.
Like it opens with a communication. Now, I saw a female saying that it is unethical. Now, when people go to her house, they will not tell they got a mithai for her. They said prasad hai. अभी माता का जागरण किया था. Now you won't say no to prasad. It's opening with a laddoo. And then she will say कहाँ किया वहाँ पे किया था माता का जागरण. नेताजी आए हैं. नमस्ते. Please vote for me. It starts like that. Now there are certain those who are weight cautious. They get sugar-free mithai. That is also available in the market. Now what exactly he said कि दारू और मटन मिलता है, चिकन मिलता है. I want to tell you an interesting story. In Konkan and Mumbai part of Maharashtra, they celebrate a festival called Gatari. Now it appears to be a dirty word. Like Gatari comes from a gutter.
Oh,
now what happens before Navratri, the last new moon day, that is Amasya, is supposed to be the last day to drink and eat non-veg. So they go for a party, everybody, and they eat and drink to the level that they don't stand on their feet. They lie on the ground, lie on the road, they lie in gutter, so they say it is a guttari. Now once it happens, the municipal corporation election of Thane, they came in a period when the guttari was to be celebrated. Now it was guttari for entire voters, it was a funeral for the candidates. Because every mandal will come and said, we are celebrating guttari, take 5,000, take 5,000. He said this guttari has created such a huge thing that people had to shell out lakhs of rupees for guttari alone. That is what means, that is very easy for him to say कि mutton भी खिलाया और chicken भी खिलाया. Those who are managing that, see how much they must be paying for it.
Yeah, but I guess, you know, when elections come, you have these various social groups which come and, you know, they demand these things from candidates.
Yes.
And candidates actually don't have an option but to go for it, because otherwise, you know, they'll say we have.
It's part of the local culture, so they have to give it.
We don't stop here for mithais. When political parties, they get patronized by big yoga gurus and mahant and sadhus. During election, they don't ask for mithai. They don't ask for favor. They have straightway asked for tickets. Baba Ramdev has asked for more than 150 tickets to BJP.
So mithai distribution is compensated by ticket distribution.
The Giri who is contesting in Delhi, he comes from a quota of Sri Ravi Shankar ji.
Right.
Now that means Ravi Shankar ji has asked for his ticket. So when you talk of social group, when you talk of such people, now their demand doesn't, so it is a part of another mithai. A ticket is a mithai for them.
So on a more serious note, what are the checks and balances? I mean, this year the Election Commission was very strident in its press conference announcing the date, saying that there will be greater public scrutiny. But will that really help on the ground?
It's a huge country. Our problem is our population and the hugeness. So it's very difficult to implement whatever rules you find or whatever rules you frame, whatever ethical or code of conduct you talk of. It is the people who will have to decide.
Exactly.
You will have to educate the voters. So educating voters, I think media has to play an important role. It's not the government will do all the time. Rather, government is always a part of the politicians. So they will always try to make sure that there are laxes and there are bylanes to make use of it.
So just picking up on that, you say the media should play the role of educating voters, but already before the elections really begun, the rhetoric hasn't been very sweet. It's been bitter.
Yeah. It's been bitter because the language is being used by the various political leaders and the aggressiveness among the leaders for to prove their points. I think it is not the agenda that they are talking of. It's more they want to expose others, and when you start exposing, then you talk to the level you can't imagine of. Now recently we had that somebody will say I will cut into pieces. Somebody says that he doesn't have this thing. Means the language being used, even we can't quote like on television.
It's just degraded to a level where it's all about just winning an election and doing it in a very brazen manner. So
mithais are good then in a sense.
See,
perhaps they would be leveler.
Exactly, that's what I said. Mithai is much better than the way they are working on. And there will be a time. Let me tell you what happened in Delhi last Vidhan Sabha election. People have taken money. People have taken liquor. People have taken parties. But ultimately they have voted to a people those who have not given them anything.
Yeah.
So people have realized कि दारू हमारा पीता है, खाता हमारा है, वोट किसी और को देता है. Now this realization will take another 2-3 more elections, another 5-10 years down the line, and then the people will say this is a useless expenditure. Let us not get into this.
And in terms of expenditure, again going back to that question, you've got the Aam Aadmi Party sort of talking about scrutiny, transparency. Come on, they're not going to escape giving away mithais when they go down to their local campaigns.
That's what I think. I agree with what Ashok is saying, is the fact that unless you make people aware about these things, there's no way. There's only a certain limit that the Election Commission can actually take care of. It's like as far as terrorism goes, the police can't be policing all the time. You have to be you have to be aware if there's any unidentified object lying. So that involvement of the people has to be there. And in any case, if the people themselves decide that no, we're not going to fall for this, then netas will be on track. But the fact is that in 60 years of our democracy, at least in the heartland, in rural areas, these things are so institutionalized in the forms of, as Sir said, pandals or be it sports clubs or various clubs, that really the candidates have very little option but to go and appease them.
Suraj, marriages, if this is the marriage season during the election, every politician has to attend a marriage, and during marriage he can't just bless and come out. He has to shell out a lot of money as a gift, because the envelope he gives to the groom and the bridegroom, they check it and they says कि नेताजी इतने बड़े नेता है क्या दिया 101 रुपए दिया. So that matters. Entire body, that marriage pendal goes against the leader. So he has to make sure that he puts 5,001 rupees in that. So if it's a marriage season during election, is another head for a contestant to make a provision for the money.
So we've actually got someone joining us on the conversation via Skype. Satish Sharma from Delhi has joined us in the conversation. Go ahead, Mr. Sharma, with your question for our guest.
Hi, I just actually joined in. I was listening in on the conversation. So you're talking about sops and mithai to be specific. Now, as Indians, we all have sweet tooth. We cannot really resist the mithai. But the thing is now, in last elections, I actually came to hear from one of my friends that one of the political parties actually went ahead and they were distributing these things. Like they had booze flowing all around for votes. They had bags of rice that were being given away, along with some kalakand and all of that. So I don't understand. I mean, why is it that political parties have to stoop to such a low level that they actually go ahead and just to ask for votes, they go ahead and distribute these things? Can't they actually work on something productive and then get the votes like that?
Thank you, Ritesh. That is a very, very keen question that's being asked. That, can't there be other ways of being more responsible?
Then I have another question.
Sure.
To my friend.
To Ritesh.
So, if I want to give somebody, I will hand over him a cobra, king cobra. Will he going to handle it? No. It's voters. Why do they accept it? They should be throwing those bags, rice bags out. They should be throwing those kalakans out. But now here, a particular mohalla has a gang leader. He approaches the leader and he says that we have got 100 houses or we have got 1000 votes. So what a deal you are giving me? Then we need rice, so much of mithai. Then he tells people that I made him to give party. Khana wana khilaya, acha mithai bhi diya. Now let us work for him. So this is, the voters have to be more educated. That's what I said. It's not the political parties. Political parties, if one political party gives a mithai, another political party will definitely do it. We talk of AAP party, Aam Aadmi party. Aam Aadmi party when contested the election wanted to be altogether a different party. But today what is happening? They are also throwing the stones. They are also hitting back the way other political parties are hitting back.
So I'm just going to ask Ritesh a question. So Ritesh, when you said your friends at the last elections saw this was happening, what were their reactions to all these inducements being handed out? Did they actually take them?
Well, we actually did record a video. They actually showed me the video as well. But again, now these political parties, now I'm not going to name any particular political party over here. However, I do actually know the name of that party. The thing is that, people like us, general public, we can't really just go ahead and take these political parties head on. Right? Even if I have a video that actually shows that these parties are indulging in these activities, nothing can be done. I can go ahead and show you the video right now, and then in a while I'll be actually receiving calls. What the hell are you doing?
No, but so what is the means of redressal, Sanjeev?
I beg to differ here.
Okay.
There are certain people, they have fought
so
it.
Provide them a solution.
Yeah, you can fight it back. You can give that. I see lot many news channels are there operating in India. Everybody would love to telecast what videos you have, and the political parties will be on their knees to on your door.
Yeah,
it's not that. See, we are not living in a Talibani system that anybody will come at a gunpoint and shoot you off. Don't forget. In Delhi, nothing is going to happen. Even if somebody threats you, it becomes such a big issue that he will have to lose his registration of the party. But the problem with us is that we talk of corruption, we talk of all those things, but whenever it comes to fight, we want others to fight. Everybody wants Bhagat Singh, but at a neighbor's house. Nobody wants to become a Bhagat Singh himself. That is a big problem.
So Ritesh, would that change your mind? Do you think that you'll take that video to the authorities?
I give you an offer, Ritesh. Come on. You hand over that video to this, our organization, and we'll make sure that we'll be on air. We'll make sure that things are taken to a conclusion. I give you a guarantee.
There you go, Ritesh. Thank you so much for joining us on this conversation.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
So, but that is a problem. I mean, what is the means of redressal? Just last, reactions to what Ritesh said to just round off the discussion.
People have to be educated. There is the election commission. You can complain to the election commission. Why only political parties make a complaint to the election? Why common man cannot make a complaint to the election? You go to the election commission and check how many common people have approached election commission. It has become a fashion. Only one political party will go against another political party. When you see something going wrong, straightway approach election commission, write to them. This is what is unethical. I am feeling it.
Absolutely.
The election commission will definitely act on that.
So last words from you, Sanjeev. If as a journalist you were given more than a mithai inducement, what is your redressal?
Well, now we are more aware. The first thing we'll do is perhaps record the conversation so that we have some sort of proof.
Let me tell you, there are two types of journalists in journalism, Shivraj. Those who take, those who don't take. The people who don't take, they will never be approached. So I think Sanjeev is
So hopefully forums like this will put them on notice.
Yes.
Hopefully forums like this. Thank you so much, Ashok, and thank you so much, Sanjeev, for joining us. And I hope you will continue joining us in our conversations on IndiaPostLive.com. Thank you.